We are back with Eliza Gilkyson. Oh, this is so cool. The new album is Songs from the Riverwind, and the song you just heard, which I'm sure um, for the older listeners out there, the subject is on your mind. It's Bristlecone Pine, um, and we've got immortality in the song. Mortality, immortality. How much are you thinking about that these days?
you know, you get to be my age, and I feel so lucky that that I've had the life I've had. But yes, I definitely have more years in back of me. So mortality is something. I think when you reach my age, you really either you're going to go into denial or you're going to turn around and start accepting that you're mortal and that it's finite, that life is finite. And so that's, I think, why that song just really um, is so perfect, because it's the recognition that you're mortal, and also recognizing that some energetic is immortal, and that's the thing to key into, even if it's just putting your ashes at the base of a tree that lives for thousands of years and letting the tree absorb you. I what a great image that is. It's so humble.
What would the world be losing if we do things like destroy habitats for species like the bristlecone pine, which, I'm sure people aren't interacting with on a day-to-day basis, but what are we losing there?
Well, just from a scientific standpoint, the bristlecone pine, in being 5,000 years old, they now have a way to read tree rings without killing the tree. They can actually go all the way in with a very, very tiny instrument and get readings that go all the way back. And apparently, these tree readings tell us more than any records about weather systems and uh, times back, 5,000 years ago. So huge, what other upheavals took place, the tree rings actually record them. So just scientifically, of course, there's value, but also just knowing that something has been alive for 5,000 years, I think the things like that us in put humans in their proper perspective, compared to the awesomeness and variety and complexity of nature.
Do you think you would enjoy being around for 5,000 years?
So good. Yes, I would if I. Yeah, I mean, who wants to die? I don't want to die. I'm an explorer. I want to see what happens. So um, I mean, it may be vain or it may be selfish, but sure. What about you? Would you?
I don't know. I mean, just just being alive now, there's so much dread as to where the world is going, and feeling like maybe I was born at the wrong time, where I was born into this very uh, a world of expanding democracy and free speech and just progress. And I got to see that for a couple decades, and then
Yeah.
things are really starting to change in the other direction. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking, oh, maybe it would have been better if I was born into the chaos and got to grow up and watch things get better instead of the other way around. And I think about what you said about Charlie Moore and how he would have been terrified and saddened
Yeah.
by the way the world is
Yeah.
now. I
Yeah.
mean, over the course of
Yeah.
5,000 years,
Yeah.
the amount of
Sorry. Yeah.
over the course of
Yes.
5,000 years, the amount of changes that I'd see, I think there'd just be so much heartbreak.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm
Grief.
young,
Yeah.
so I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, let me find a few more years here and there, you know?
God, I feel like you've just nailed it. For young people right now, I just it's like you have to go into denial to get up every day. And that, when I said 5,000 years, I think I'm thinking starting 5,000 years ago. But to go from here on out fresh, I think you're right. I think right now, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said grieving, because I think this is, if we're not grieving right now, then we're not paying attention. And it also means that we're shutting down. And so the challenge right now is to stay sentient, and but which means we're going to have to grieve. And that might be one of our jobs, is to keep ourselves open and feeling and caring, and at the same time having to feel this terrible weight of loss.
Yes, keep yourself open and thinking and grieve, or keep yourself shut down and maybe find some measure of happiness.
Yeah,
It's a
you're
hard and brutal decision to make. But I
God.
think, in a way, our brains, just the hardwiring of the types of people we are, it makes it for us. I don't, I
Maybe
don't think I
so.
have the choice to shut down.
You know, you would take some kind of, drug or something to, it's for certain people to shut down. It's not in our nature, and maybe for other people it's easy, but you're right. Once that little window of sentience has opened, it's really hard to shut it. Maybe the best thing to do at that now is to find like-minded souls who see things and feel things the way you do, so at least there's a sense of community around it.
So, funeral plans. I know this is dark. If you had the chance, would you forego a traditional funeral and go ahead with your bristlecone pine plan?
I I think that's no one has ever or ever will ask me these questions again. I think I would rather be um, in New Mexico, in my home turf. I think I would want to have my ashes scattered, maybe in this creek or even this ditch system that goes by my house and goes out into the fields and feeds the orchards. I think I would rather be local. The bristlecones don't grow down here. I like the idea, but I also could see finding a tree that was nearby so my kids could visit it and that kind of thing.
All right. Whenever I have a guest on the show, I offer them a chance to close their interview by playing DJ. Um, I let them pick a song. Two rules. First rule, it can't be your own.
Yeah.
And second rule, I name some sort of category or prompt based on the interview, based on the album. And for you, I think it's self explanatory. Your prompt is a song that captures the spirit and the beauty of the West.
Oh. Um. Oh. I know. Chuck Pyle. Um. The the song about the river. Um. The mighty river just flows. Keeping time by the river.
Beautiful
It
choice.
has all that immortality, the Western feel, and Chuck's beautiful voice.
All right, let's go with that one. Eliza Gilkyson, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for really thinking about your questions and being such a soulful person. What a pleasure for me.
What a pleasure for me as well. Songs from the River Wind. Check it out. We'll play some more from it next week.